The morning started out so quiet you could almost hear the dew sliding off the grass, birds echoing out in the pines, just soft and familiar, until that insane grind of gears came ripping through the mist. I was halfway down the porch steps when I saw it. One of those big cement trucks, roaring right up over my granddad's old wooden bridge. Now, you gotta understand, that bridge wasn't just a crossing. It was built by hand, every nail and beam, 50 years back. I just stood there for a second, stunned, as the whole thing bowed and squealed like it was screaming for help. The truck kept going, and right when it hit the far bank, the crack of splintering wood rolled down the valley like thunder, and I knew something had changed forever. When I made it over, the truck was gone, but what it left behind, well, that was impossible to miss. Deep tire ruts cut right through the mud, railings snapped in two, fresh splatters of concrete all over the boards. Called the HOA, figuring someone, somewhere, might actually have a shred of decency. Instead, I get Karen Whitaker, streets director, who sounded like I'd ruined her day just by breathing. "It's community access, Malik," she snapped. The trucks were delivering road repair materials. "Across my private bridge?" I asked, trying to keep it civil. She sighed. "It's within the association. Map lines." And that was that, at least in her mind. Well, I dug out my deed, just to make sure I wasn't losing it. Right there in faded black ink, private bridge, parcel boundary, clear as can be. I sent a photo to Karen. Her reply came back in 5 minutes. "Those records are outdated. HOA oversight supersedes them." I sat there at the kitchen table, sunlight slicing through the blinds, looking at my granddad's old carved model of that same bridge. It just about made my blood boil, thinking about what he'd say. That night, I got woken up by another truck, engine low and hungry, grinding across those planks. By sunrise, I was out there with a can of black paint, making a sign, "Private bridge, ask first." I stuck it deep in the dirt. For one short, hopeful moment, it felt like I'd claimed something back. Yeah, that lasted exactly till morning. The sign was gone, floating face down in the creek, snapped like a bone. I snapped a picture, sent it straight to Karen. Her reply was basically a shrug. "Community maintenance will proceed regardless of obstacles." Didn't even bother pretending. That same afternoon, my neighbor, Mrs. Baines, called over from her porch, her voice just a whisper. "They've been using it for months now, Malik." Karen said it's just easier. The cost of convenience. I just stood there, staring at the bridge, dignity floating away. With my broken sign, thinking, convenience is about to get real expensive. So I got serious. Hired a structural engineer, a quiet guy named Ethan. We walked the length of the bridge, boards creaking under us, Ethan poking at every crack. "A few more loads and this thing isn't gonna just bend," he said. "It'll snap. You'll lose it for good." We wrote up a formal report, photos, load calculations, the whole deal. I shot it off to the HOA, urgent safety concern, in the subject line. 2 days later, I drive by the community board and someone's taped up my report, but across the top, in fat red marker, "Fake data. HOA verified safe." Folks just walked past me, eyes on the ground. Karen's SUV rolls by. She smirks in the mirror. You know that look. That's when I decided if I couldn't win loud, I'd win smart. I set up a motion camera, weatherproofed and hidden in an old birdhouse by the bridge. Every night, I checked the feed. For a week, nothing. Then 2:13 a.m., headlights cut through the fog. A cement truck, lights off, rolling slow. The camera picks up every sound, planks groaning, shadows moving. Then, a woman's voice, soft but sharp. "Make it quick. They're asleep." I froze that video, zoomed in, reflection in the water, clear as day. Karen Whitaker. Same red jacket, blonde streak, everything. I took those screenshots, printed them out, and drove straight to the county roads office. "This bridge isn't zoned for heavy vehicles," I told the clerk. The clerk looked at the photos, just shook his head. "You got yourself a real problem, Mr. Reyes." That night, Karen calls me herself. Her voice is all smooth, like she's practiced it in the mirror. "You're trespassing on HOA digital property. Delete those files before we escalate this." I just stared at the phone. "Digital property?" I repeat. "You wouldn't want your privacy record examined either," she says, and hangs up. Next morning, the HOA sends an email blast. calls me out for recording unauthorized community activity. Says I'm a disturbance. Just like that, folks who used to wave at me start crossing the street. My own sister Lena comes by, tells me not to stoop to Karen's level. You've got proof, Malik. Just hold tight. But my hands shook. She wasn't just crossing my bridge, she was crossing every line in the book. I checked my cloud backups, and, you guessed it, every file, every video gone. Didn't panic, though. My old cybersecurity habits kicked in. I pulled out my backup drive from under the floorboards. Full copy, untouched. I started a new folder, Operation Bridge. Uploaded every piece of evidence, time-stamped, ready for war. And wouldn't you know it, that night, 2 trucks came, heavier than ever, caught on my live feed. That's when I realized they weren't backing down, they were doubling down. So I confronted Karen in public, footage in hand. She just laughed, loud enough for the crowd. Maybe if you paid your dues, we wouldn't have to use your path. Laughter, stares, the whole thing. Inside, I snapped, drove home, mapped out the bridge, and started working. But not to sabotage, to reinforce. Quiet nights, headlamp on, tools in hand. I installed hidden load sensors, steel braces, pressure-triggered recording. If they're gonna break it, I whispered, they'll do it on camera. Next day, emergency HOA meeting. Karen shows the crowd pictures of me under the bridge at night. Tampering with community property, she accuses. I stand up calm. Community property? Then you won't mind if the county checks. I lay my deed on the table. Stamped, verified, my bridge, my land. The whole room goes quiet. Karen hisses. Let's see what happens when your little bridge breaks. That night, thunderstorm rolling in, 3 trucks pull up. Lena calls me, panicked, but I say, they're gonna stop themselves. The first truck crawls out, bridge groans, my sensors light up, the whole thing caught live. Karen's SUV is right behind them, her face tight, defiant. Lightning flashes, my new weight limit sign. Glows. The drivers hesitate. 1 truck backs off, bridge still holds. Karen storms out, screaming at me, you're finished. I raise my phone, live feed uploading to the cloud. No, Karen, you just trespassed again. Sheriff's cruiser pulls up, red and blue washing over the bridge. Karen tries to spin her story, but I hand over everything. Reports, videos, deed. The sheriff reads it. All jaw clenched. Mrs. Whitaker, you've been trespassing and endangering infrastructure. We'll settle this in court. Karen's face. White as paper, just then. Weeks later, county courthouse, me on one side, HOA's lawyers and Karen on the other. I walk through every piece of evidence, calm as you please. The video plays, Karen's voice. Make it quick. They're asleep. Dead silence. Judge leans forward. Mrs. Whitaker, is that your voice? She tries to deny it, but her own vice chair pipes up. Yes, it's her. We told her to stop. Instantly, the room shifts. Her own team turns. On her, Judge halts all HOA activity on my property. Sunlight breaks through the windows. For the first time in months, I breathe easy. But that's not the end. That night, someone vandalizes my bridge, spray paint, scorched planks, liar across the railings. I call the sheriff. He just says, check tomorrow's paper. Next day, headline reads, HOA under investigation for fraud. Karen's been paying herself with HOA funds, contractors in her name. Neighbors start coming by, apologizing, painting the bridge with me. Mrs. Baines brings coffee, says, we believed her lies. Because it was easier. I just nod. Convenience always has a cost. A month later, Karen's gone. HOA's dissolved, and real contractors, paid fair and square, helped me rebuild the bridge. This time, steel supports, weatherproof boards, a plaque that reads, this bridge stands on respect, not shortcuts. My sister tells me, Grandpa would be proud. For the first time, I believe her. Letter from the court arrives. Property lines reaffirmed, damages awarded, a handwritten note from the judge. Thank you for showing what integrity looks like. I stand on my bridge, sunlight pouring down, and think, guess we finally set the right kind of trap. Now, I gotta ask, what would you have done? Would you fight back, or let it slide for the sake of neighborly peace? Drop your thoughts down below. Let's hear where you stand on justice, community, and doing what's right, even when it isn't easy. And hey, if you've ever had your own HOA nightmare, share your story. We're all ears.